Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tea and Crystals podcast. I am T.
And I'm Crystal.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we are so happy to have you all back with us for another week of this here thing. We got a packed show for y'all. I don't know how we finna fit it all in, Crystal, but we finna do it. But before we do it, y'all know how I got to start the show. Crystal, how are you, my friend?
Pretty good. It's been a decent week. I had a small like a day and a half gig. And then I have something for all of next week, which will be quite a challenge for us. I don't know the details. I don't know the details yet, but I'm excited for it. I'm happy to just have something for a week. I may not feel that way come Monday morning when I'm driving to work. I may be crying, going like, I just want to go back home. But for now, I'm happy about it. So
I'm
how are
so
you?
happy. So happy for you. Like
Thank you.
When you told me, I think you told me when I was out of town.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know where I was. I was somewhere in public, and I was like, yes. Like what? And I was like, oh, Krista got a gig. Super hype. Like,
mm-hmm. I'm hoping that it's going to lead to something a little bit more long term. This is something me and you will talk about, in the post show. Yes, but it feels very much almost like this might be kind of, I don't know, like a testing period, and if I do well enough, that I might possibly lead into a longer term gig. And by longer term, it for us, it's usually like a month or two.
Right.
So fingers
y'all
crossed.
Put y'all good energy on it. By the time y'all hear this, you'll be at the end.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
You would have done the work anyway, but y'all put y'all good energy on the back end to hope that does come to fruition.
Yes.
I'm okay. I'm all right. It's been a blitz these past 3 weeks, really, with the little one being sick and trying to do regular work stuff. Us taking a trip, which again we'll talk about in the post-show meeting. We didn't have time for a pre-show meeting today, so because some crazy shit happened right before we started recording this podcast, which I'm sure will be all over the news about that man in front of Trump's trial. That literally happened maybe an hour ago, at the time of recording, and we just found out about a half an hour ago. I just happened to look at Instagram, and that was the first thing that came up. So that is definitely on our mind. So we will see, throughout the week. By the time y'all hear this, everything will probably have unfolded about the story.
Yes.
So,
and I will just say, regardless of like who he is, what his political agenda is, I know that they loaded him on the stretcher. I don't know if at this point he has survived. I know it took a little while for them to get the fire out. But if he does survive, that is a terrible recovery process. I hope, I wish him, a healthy recovery as much as he can, and I hope he gets all the help that he needs, both physically and mentally.
Because I don't know. It's a really tough time in the world. Like it's a lot of people are just at their wits' ends about a lot of things surrounding what is going on in those United States. So God bless.
Yeah. And in the world in general, there's a lot going on. I don't like getting political on this podcast. I know we give little hints of, kind of how we lean in all stuff like that, but we don't really get into it. And I know for some people that's aggravating when people with some sort of a platform don't just automatically go all in when things are going, but when things are going wrong. But I am always on the side of I want people to be okay, and I don't like it when people are hurt. I don't like violence. I'm not a very violent person myself, but my heart is always with those who are suffering.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. We hope that this podcast alleviates at least an hour of it gives you at least an hour of stress-free listening. It's supposed to bring you a little bit of joy, let you get into somebody else's business, get out of your own. Sit down with a glass of wine, put your feet up, curl up on the couch, whatever you got to do. Play the new Delta emulator that I just showed Crystal. Play your Pokemans while you listen to the podcast and just relax for a little while before you go to bed, Because like Crystal said, the world is crazy, and you will lose yourself in the madness that's going on these days. So I hope that we can help in that way just a little bit.
Yes.
Speaking of helping, Crystal, can you help us understand what you got for us? Because I heard through the grapevine that you have a little game for us to play.
Yes. I've actually got some fact or fiction that we're going to play. And as always, folks, well, I don't know if you can, I guess, don't cheat and just tell me what your initial thought was when you hear some of these questions. There's not really a lot of guessing. It's one or the other. But I'm always interested to hear what you guys thought, what your thoughts are. I know, for instance, last week, before we get into the game, we did a topic about words or phrases that
I'm glad
that we grew up with. And one of the very first comments that we got was the words to your phrase.
I want to address this.
Before you do, okay. Because when I saw that because it came across my phone, I saw the notification. I didn't immediately reply. When I saw it, I said, "What? These are the words." In all the years growing up, he didn't catch these individual words, because to me it makes sense. The words made sense. I was like,
"Yep."
And listening to your phonically saying it, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. See, my problem, right? We got 4 comments that were essentially the same, right? In all the comments. And they were all trying to explain what the words were to what I was saying. And all 4 of them said something different. So y'all don't know what the fuck it is either. Okay? Don't be coming in that comment section trying to, it's this, that, and this and that. But all 4 of y'all said something different. The only word that was the same in all of them was God. That was the only one. Each 4 of y'all said 4 words, and the only one that was the same was God. Shut y'all asses up. Somebody tell me what the right thing is. Okay.
I believe the first person who commented.
But see, the second one made more sense. God of mercy, no.
What was the first one? Isn't that what the first one said?
It was a variation. I don't know who was first. Because when I saw it was the first 2, so I don't know who the first person was.
The first person put in parentheses like, say it as one or say it all together or something like that.
Okay, maybe that was a God of mercy, no.
Yeah, and to me, that was the one that I was like, that was the first one I saw, and I was like, oh, hold on.
Because some of the other ones,
I got my thing up.
Also, too, and as well, made sense.
They did.
But I was just like, how y'all all saying something different? That's what's bothering me.
Right.
Because
so Mamanda 33, she said, it's God of mercy, no, said LOL together. God of mercy, no. Like that to me sounded. And someone writing under them said, God have mercy, no. Which I guess that one, like the have and the like I can see how those would be
similar.
So I feel like that is essentially the phrase, whether or not you say have or
But there was another one in there.
God Almighty knows.
That's the other one that was completely different.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, who lying?
Right.
Because
see, I feel like the first two are so similar. I feel like that's probably the variation
right
that most
one.
people, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just maybe this person, the God Almighty know, like, they were just being, correct in their term, whereas the other ones weren't quite. But yeah, I feel like that was a close one. Now, my term, however, apparently is a thing. It's more of a thing in the like Midwest or something like that. I did look it up. Now, granted, I want you guys to know this. When I first found out years ago that this apparently wasn't a thing, I did try to look it up and I did not see it anywhere on the internet so that's why I was like, well, this obviously isn't a thing. Like, I did try to research. I didn't see anywhere. Since then, though, it's now been put up in the dictionary and all that stuff saying that it originated in like Minnesota. It's like said somewhere there. Someone said North Dakota or something like that. Although most people say it's more for doing donuts, which makes more sense to me.
Okay, like you going down the toilet or something?
That's what I was thinking. But some people do say, oh yeah, we say that too. Someone from New York says we whip a bitch or something like that.
All right.
I was like, that's interesting. I didn't tell him, like, I think mine rolls off the tongue a little bit better.
Yeah. Whip a bitch. That.
I mean, I like it. I'm not mad at it.
It rolls off the lips. Whip a bitch. But it sounds like more like you finna beat somebody up. So I know, right? That's
and then someone was like, we say we're gonna do a Yui, which I've heard that one before.
Girl, no. Yeah, everybody says pull a Yui. Right. Come on. Kindergarten children.
But I did get someone who's like, oh my God, I'm gonna use this from now on. I'm like, go for it. Go for it. Yes. So
I do in my everyday life.
Yeah. We cannot try to take credit for it since it is a thing, but over here on the East Coast, it's not as much of a thing. So we'll take credit for it if it becomes big on the East Coast.
Exactly.
So anyways, back to our fact or fiction. I'm excited for this one. I try to find some harder ones. Now I'm gonna feel really upset if you just fly through these because I know for me, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't really know this. So if you're just like, oh yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm going back to second grade. Thanks.
Oh God.
All right. So here's the first one. A banana is a berry, but a strawberry isn't.
That's true.
Ooh, you sure?
Yes.
Okay, you're right. It's fact. A banana qualifies as a berry, but a strawberry does not because its seeds are on the outside. I don't remember hearing that, but also at the same time, I feel like I had heard that.
I'm about to say, I feel like I have heard it. I knew that a strawberry wasn't a berry.
Mm-hmm.
I did know that.
I don't think I knew that. Okay. The inventor of the Frisbee was turned into a Frisbee after he died.
Oh my God. No. He was not turned into a Frisbee.
Oh, yeah. No, this is fact.
Oh my God.
Walter Morrison, the inventor of the Frisbee, was cremated and his ashes were molded into a Frisbee.
Into a Frisbee?
Yes.
You know what? I almost said something really evil just then. God rest his soul. Never mind.
Now, I don't know what happened to that Frisbee, where it's at.
Can you imagine?
No.
If somebody lost track of the Frisbee and then
I know, right?
It's just a random Frisbee in a park being caught by a dog. Like, sir, is that how you want to spend eternity? Come on.
I mean, my mom, she wants to, we've had this talk before, like what she wants after she passes. She does want to be cremated, but she's also made references, like she wants to be made into like a tree, or I think there's like something where you can become like something underwater or something like that. A reef or something like that. I don't know. She wants to do something like that, which, I'm not mad at, but she doesn't want to just be buried or be sitting on a mantle, which I'm not, I get. Let's see. The unicorn is the national animal of Scotland.
The unicorn is the national animal of Scotland. You know what? I'm going to say it's true because I feel like on one of the flags, there is a unicorn on it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, this is true. It symbolizes purity and strength in Scottish heraldry.
Okay, why do I know that?
I don't know.
I know that there's a unicorn on one of their flags. Oh my God.
Let's see. Humans use only 10% of our brains.
Now, I feel like I've heard this before, but I feel like I heard recently that is not true.
That is correct. Brain images studies show we use every part of the brain, and most of the brain is active all the time. Tuesday, nope, just gave that one away. Never mind. We'll do that like a couple of episodes later when he's forgotten about that. What I just said.
Because in about 15 minutes, it's gone.
It's illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland because they get lonely.
In Switzerland, it's illegal to own just one guinea pig because they get lonely. You know what? Switzerland is such a small country that I feel like they would have time to pay attention to things like that. So I'm going to say it's true.
It is true. Swiss law prohibits owning just one to prevent loneliness. I honestly feel like that should just be with all animals. Maybe not cats.
Yeah.
Cats seem to be okay by themselves most of the time.
We had the same thought. I just thought the same thing. Cats would be the exception to the rule.
Yes, they're okay by themselves sometimes. Let's see. On the topic of cats, cats have more bones than humans.
Cats have more bones than humans. You know what? I feel like they have a lot of little bones in their legs. And they have their tails have a lot of joints in it. So I am going to say true.
It is true. Cats typically have about 230 bones, while humans have 206. And then the final one, let me see. The concept of zero was invented by the ancient Greeks.
Of zero by the ancient Greeks. Isn't there like something in Greek mythology about zero?
Is there?
Am I tripping?
I don't know.
Okay, read that one again. Again.
The concept of zero was invented by the ancient Greeks.
False.
This is false. The concept of zero as a number was developed by ancient Indian mathematicians.
Oh my God. Because I was thinking, I was like, it's older than that. It's older than the Greeks. Because I feel like they referenced zero in a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Shout out to me.
I was about to say, you did get quite a bit of them right. More than I thought.
Girl, that was luck. That was straight luck. Thank you, Lord.
But you did have to think about a few of them, so I was
happy about that. Did. Like that. A couple of them, I was like right on the wire, and then I switched my answer at the last second. I ain't gonna lie to you. Oh, that was fun. I really enjoy fact or fiction. That is
I know. I love the fact or fiction. I love the would you rather.
Yeah, those are really, really fun. Well, speaking of fun, there is someone who likes to have fun and likes to wreck shop on this show. And they are actually knocking down the door right now. So we might as well go ahead and let them in and get a visit from the Florida man. Okay? Don't never tell Crystal when he's coming. No. And you know what? That's because he's bad company. He's always... I almost said it in Danish. Hello, Bella. I don't know why they just translated in my head.
That's good though.
But he's always making trouble. So let's hear what the Florida man has been up to this week. Y'all ready? All right, here we go. Florida man pops open beer during police encounter because it was cold and he wanted to drink it.
You know what? You know what? I don't drink, but I respect it.
I mean, it's cold. Like, what
it's
you
cold.
gonna do? Okay.
He's already stressed enough by what's going on. Like,
right.
He figured, I'm already in trouble. What's another?
What's another? So this comes to us by way of Fox 35 Orlando. This comes out of Port Orange, Florida. And the story goes a little something like this. Many believe it's a crime to let a beer warm up. And one Florida man wasn't taking any chances, even as police surrounded him with guns drawn during an investigation into gunfire, body camera video showed. Brett McPeak, that is so hard to say. Brett McPeak, 32, found himself behind bars on multiple charges after he allegedly began firing shots near Port Orange police officers following a fight he had with a neighbor. Before his arrest, though, he shared his desire to crack open a beer. According to the Port Orange Police Department, on Tuesday night, officers responded to a neighborhood after McPeak and his neighbors got into a disturbance and one threatened the other neighbor with a gun. Oh my God. While officers were collecting information about what happened from the neighbor, McPeak exited his home and fired multiple shots in the area of officers, the victim, and other neighbors who were outside at the time. The shots could be heard on the officer's body cam video. Officers were then seen moving in where they heard the shots fired and found McPeak outside his home. "Stay right there," a police officer could be heard telling McPeak with guns drawn. "I'm cracking this beer, okay? I'm not going to bother you," McPeak responds. "This beer's cold, sir, and I want to drink it." McPeak did not have a gun on him at the time of arrest, but officers found 2 handguns, one being a .38 special revolver with a spent shell casing, after executing a search warrant for the property. He was arrested and booked into the Volusia County Jail on charges of aggravated assault with a firearm and using a firearm while under the influence of alcohol. He was later released after posting bond, jail records show. Yeah. Florida man, he out here.
He out there. Like he knew. He was like, I'm about to go away for a little while. I'm gonna crack this one last beer. Crack this last beer while I can. Florida people are wild. I don't know if you're not on TikTok, but I recently discovered on TikTok there are 2 girls in Florida, I believe, who are trying to, I don't know what the record is exactly, but they're trying to get in the Guinness World Records or something like that. They're documenting their journey, but they have these toy mobile cars, like the little Jeeps or something like that. Like they're traveling. Like the little
kid ones?
Yes. They are traveling from one area up all the way down to Key West. And they've been documenting their journey. They can only go so many miles. They can only go so far. They have to stop and recharge the batteries every once in a while, which takes hours. But they do so many miles every day. And they document it. They keep people updated. They are invested. I guess they tried to do this a few years ago and something happened. I don't know what happened. I didn't really go into too much research about it.
The battery technology just wasn't there.
Something like that. But someone, one of the makers of the toy cars, saw it and wanted to sponsor them this trip around. So they got them these nicer ones, I guess. And they figured out how to pack everything they needed into like one bag so it all fits in their little toy car. And they've been doing this little journey.
There needs to be a class and a study on people fishing for sponsorships and getting them. My wife and I just had a whole argument really at the dinner table tonight about, I'm not going to speak to what kind of influencer it is, but it's a very specific kind of influencer that kind of their content is based around struggle. And my thing was, if you've been doing this content for 6 years and nowhere in that time did you find any solutions to these struggles, girl, why have you been struggling consistently for 6 years? Why are y'all watching this? Why are y'all interacting with this? Why? I get it. You identify with it. But there are no solutions being made here. No one's evolving. No one's growing. And that's kind of what bothered me. And I was like, well, when does it go from a point of like sharing your authentic struggles to then being sponsored to share your struggles?
To be struggling.
And, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like the authenticity is gone.
Yeah.
Because now you're struggling to make, well, you're not struggling to make money, but you're pretending to struggle. Yeah. I mean, maybe you still have your struggles or whatever, but it's definitely turned up for you to keep up these sponsorships. And I think the sponsorship thing has just really fucked up the internet and the way that people interact on the internet, because everybody's kind of fishing for something. Like, it's, I don't know. That you know what? That's a whole, we're going to have to do an episode about that.
Yeah, because I would think that it would be more interesting to have this person struggle, and then once they start getting sponsorship, to be open about that and show their improvements, how something was able to be turned around or something like that. Like, I would feel like that would be more interesting. But I also understand that there are some sponsors that you get that they want to see this continued thing. Exactly. And so when it suddenly becomes your money and you're making your money, and you know.
Exactly. That's kind of what bothers me about it, because I don't really watch. I don't really participate in social media. Crystal knows that she is usually the one that's on our social media, because I really don't like, and this has been, well over a decade of, me. I just really don't participate in it, because I saw it very, very early on when things were kind of turning, and I was like, oh, like this isn't fun anymore. Like these are just people like creating these online personas to get something out of people. And now I think it's just boiling down into a more refined version of that, where I went from not participating in it to just viewing it. But now I'm even weaning off of that. Like, I don't even want to see it anymore, because it's just not, it's so phony, it's so fake. Like,
yeah, there's one person on TikTok that I've seen. I don't follow them or anything like that, but I've seen a couple of videos where they've called out a couple of the big beauty influencers, where they have been like, this is an example of a sponsored video versus a non-sponsored. And what they do is they've gone and found old videos where this person would showcase a product, and they're like, I did not like this. This is what it did to me, blah, 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 blah. And then later they get sponsored by that brand, and suddenly they're like, this is so amazing. Look what it does. Oh my gosh, it's flawless. I love it. And they make so many videos on it, and it's like, yeah, that stuff happens. And then the ones that are very genuine, like one of my favorite influencers, I never followed her, but I always saw her videos on my For You, so I would see them a lot, was Elise Myers. I really liked her. She was the one who would tell these really awkward stories, and her storytelling was just so funny because
is she the one with the black hair?
Yes.
Okay.
And she was recently bullied off of TikTok. So she's now put her platform behind a paying tier. Now, granted, it's not a high one. I think it's like the lowest one is like $2 or something like that. I don't know if that's a week or if that's a month or something like that. But yeah, I see a lot of videos bullying her because people wanted her to speak out politically about what was going on in like Palestine and stuff like that, and over there
in Gaza,
in Gaza and stuff like that. And she hadn't made any sort of posts. She hadn't made sort of comments. If a video was posted, it was filled filled with hateful commenters about how, she's not making this political statement. And then when she did finally post, she ended up posting that, she had just had a baby and her baby needed heart surgery. And that's what she's been dealing with. And people were not forgiving. They were not forgiving about it. They were like, well, in Gaza, a mother, had to watch her child be killed or something like that. And so it was just relentless. It was constant. There was whole TikTok people where they were exposing the real Elise Myers and how she wasn't a genuine person and yada, yada, yada. And eventually she left. And I'm just like,
for real, we might have to skip my next thing because I have to get into this. I have to get into it because this has really been on my spirit for the past week. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because, oh my God, I can't stand. Back in the day, they used to call them social justice warriors online. People who really crusaded for certain things and, were really unwilling to budge on anything, because they were damn near terrorists for wanting to do the right thing. Yeah. And I feel like that's become really popular online. Like, it's become very extreme. There's not very many people in the middle anymore. And the people that are in the middle are just passive users of social media. They really don't comment. They really don't like anything. They just watch it and, take it into the real life and have discussions and stuff. But either you have the people who are like Andrew Tate, and then you have the people like these people who bully this lady. It's just like, I've seen a lot of stuff. What's that boy named Kalen Allen? Do you know who that is? The one who do the food reaction type things. I never watched him. I remember him from Ellen and stuff, whatever.
Yeah, that's the only time I really saw him.
But I saw he had released an apology, I think either today or yesterday, because he had some type of sponsorship with Starbucks. And I had seen some other influencers who have been getting a lot of heat because I guess there's some type of connection between Starbucks and the Gaza-Israel conflict.
It seems like a lot of big business, there's some connection somewhere.
Exactly. And I'm like, y'all aren't at these corporations' doors bullying the people that work there. And you shouldn't do that because you don't know how those people line up on the issue either way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you're not going to the source. These internet people have to get these sponsorships in order to sustain themselves being online. Because quiet as it's kept, and a lot of these influencers are finally talking about it, they ain't getting paid like that off of this shit no more.
No.
Not like back in the day. YouTube used to pay people out that booty back in the day. Monetization and stuff. They have crafted it for monetization to be so hard to achieve, even after you're eligible for it, where people, unless you're a Mr. Beast or somebody, you can't make no money off of that stuff. You know, Instagram, they'll take your views, they take the likes, they'll take the engagement and everything. They ain't paying you a cent. Facebook will pay you a little bit of something. And I don't know how TikTok too. TikTok, you got to sit your whole damn life on live in order to make a coin.
It's basically like, it's not per view, it's qualified views. I still don't completely understand it, but you only get paid based off of qualified views. And then there's a percentage of how much you get paid, something called RPM or something like that, which fluctuates. So when you don't make a lot, you have a high RPM. Like right now, I think one of our videos has like $1 and some change. But it's only been viewed. It's been viewed like 20,000 times. But the qualified views on there is only like 4,000, and you're paid per 1,000 views. So it's not a lot of money. It's like $4 that we made. Granted, but there are people who are monetized and have videos that go viral that make millions of views. You know, not even just like 1 or 2 million, and their RPM, because they hit those views so often, are down to like 53 cents or cheaper. You know, like there's a way that they kind of punish you essentially for getting high content. And so, you're not making a lot of money off of it. If you listen to any influencer nowadays, they say where you make the money is from brands. It's from deals, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know,
And a
people
lot
are
of people
work...
are going to Patreon and stuff, like behind paywalls and all that different kind of stuff, because there's no real way to sustain yourself in public on these public platforms unless you get something direct. Like there's so many YouTube channels and stuff that I used to watch back in the day who have all gone exclusively Patreon. The only way you can watch the content is on Patreon, and that's to support themselves, which I don't have nothing against. Of course, I don't do this podcast, you know, to make money.
Yeah.
That was never our intent when we started it. We do this because we have fun. You know,
not that we don't want any sponsorships.
Okay, because if you got them and they align with our core values, we'll put your ass in we'll put you on the B-roll, baby. Okay. We'll put you on the B-roll. But that's not what we went for. And back to the point of the conversation about the girl and this whole getting people up out of here, you know, because I feel like people really feel their oats and their power on the internet because they know if their clicks, if their likes, if they bully somebody enough, you know, they actually have the power to affect that person. Because like a Mr. Beast, his empire is built on a toothpick. Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about a saucer on a toothpick. And that toothpick is the only thing from keeping you from disaster. It will take one wrong move and enough people to snowball that effect for him to be out of here tomorrow.
And they've tried.
Girl.
I want to say it was like last year, there was a good couple months where it's like whatever he did, people were upset about it.
It wasn't even him. It wasn't even him. It was his friend who is now transgender. And these internet trolls and these transphobic people, I'm going to go ahead and say, no, I know there's some people out there that's going to get mad at me for calling them transphobic, but that's what it was. Were really upset that he had his friend still on the channel and stuff. They were calling her like all types of crazy, like it was so sad to witness. Like when she was still, you know, male presenting, it was no problem.
Yeah.
But soon as she came out as trans, it was like, oh, get that out of here and all different type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even want her on the channel anymore.
Yeah, but they weren't always like, while they were very vocal about their hate about, they were also disguising it in the actions that they were doing on their channel. Like if they gave a car to somebody, suddenly that was a big deal. Oh, well, you're not helping the situation or something like that. I don't remember the exact things, but it was a good couple months where the things that people loved about him were suddenly problematic and what he was doing or whatever.
Yeah. That's a double-edged sword. Like if you can have an audience and do something that people love for years, and it'll take that one person to go back and put what you've done in a different context and make it sinister. Like as soon as the tide starts to turn, anything you ever said, any look that you gave, any, you know, stumbling over your words, anything that you've done can be used against you. And I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. I agree.
We going to have an episode about this, but we're going to have to bring some people on who are in that social media world and really participating and benefit from it and how it has changed for them and how they navigate it, because
I'd love to.
I have many more opinions, but we got to get on with the show.
Yeah. So now that we're over the political aspect that we said we were never going to do.
I mean, that wasn't political though. That wasn't political.
You're right.
I avoided that issue.
Right.
You know,
but you know, the average viewer would be like, this suddenly got really political because you know, if they don't agree with what we're saying, they're gonna be like,
then it's political.
Then it's political. Okay, so we're gonna get onto it. We're gonna get into these Reddit rabbit streets.
Yes.
So you don't want to do your story now?
I mean, I can if you think we have time.
Yeah, I think we'll have time. Like
Okay.
because my story is pretty short.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the last one, like I said, it's there's multiple parts to it. We're not going to finish it, so.
Okay. So are you next?
I could be next. I could be next.
This is your short story, right?
Yes, this is my short story.
How do we go from Florida man to that? Girl. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so this is part of the Am I the Asshole subreddit, and it says, Am I the asshole for having my wedding the same year? So I'm very confused at the moment and don't know what to do. My brother, 21 male, and fiance, 21 female, have been together for nearly 10 years. I was confused about this, very confused about this. But
yeah, can you read that again? Because I am extremely...
Her brother, who is 21 male, and his fiance, who is 21 female, have been together for nearly 10 years. That's what they said.
Okay.
All Next year, in August, they are getting married. They have been engaged for quite some time now, and she is the definition of bridezilla. She wanted me as a bridesmaid and was controlling the whole thing and rude to everyone and just becoming a nightmare. I have just got engaged to the love of my life, and we're very excited. To celebrate my uncle's birthday as he has passed away, we are wanting to get married on the 27th of April next year. I told my family, happily, excited to share a decision, and her face dropped on the floor. She demanded there and then that we change when we get married, as next year is her wedding year. What even is a wedding year? I told her no, as this is important to us, and she stomped upstairs to her room. Later, I got text messages saying that me and my partner are selfish and cruel and pathetic and disgusting for getting married the same year. I told her this was not fair and that we weren't getting married anywhere near her time and that we want this time for us. She then said, I'm no longer a bridesmaid and that family is not supposed to be cruel to one another. But I don't understand the issue. We are getting married 4 months before her wedding. We are not intruding and we have done nothing wrong. Am I the asshole?
That's crazy. Pathetic and disgusting. Girl, you might have to come downstairs to see me. Now, do they live together?
That's what it's sounding like. Like, this is sounding like one very full household.
Yeah, like y'all need to be worrying about getting y'all own place to live before y'all be worried about who finna get married when. Okay?
Right. And the fact that she's like, they're both 21. Like, this is a very Corey and Topanga-ish type relationship they're trying to establish. Come on now. Because she's like, they've been together nearly 10 years. Mm-hmm. They're 21 years old, which means they got together when they were right. And then they were like
disgusting.
And then they were like,
together from 11 to 21.
I know. And then they were like, oh, and they've been engaged for a while, which I guess can be true if they got engaged at like 18 or something like that, because they're 21. Like, you know, that is a bit of an engagement. But still, it doesn't sound like they're very mature to be getting married. If getting married, having a wedding year is...
We stopped getting married at 21 in the 1950s. Okay, let's cut this shit. Okay, mm-hmm. Y'all need to do some growing up, some maturing, something. Okay,
right,
girl. Oop, never mind. I was about to give her some bad. I was about to get her BV or something. Not my lights coming on. Oh my god!
Oh no!
Crystal. Pad. I got my stuff
You're
back up.
so plain now. Yeah, I totally took down the story, so I don't have any comments to read. Yeah, I don't know. Me personally, it doesn't sound like they're mature enough to get married. Especially me personally, the fact that you then took her bridesmaid position away after calling her all these disgusting things. This is sounding this sounds more like a teenager than a 21-year-old. I know 21-year-olds are young still, but this whole story read very...
Imagine we in the same house and you stop upstairs and text me from upstairs that I'm pathetic and disgusting. I'm knocking that door down and I'm putting my foot square in your ass. Okay?
Yeah.
You have lost your marbles. This is my wedding year. Now, hot take, I will say it is a little weird to have two so close in the family, the brother and the sister getting married in the same year. It is a little strange to me that y'all would have it. That is very close for one family. Like if you were getting married and your brother was getting married and y'all weddings is 4 months apart, that's way too close. That's way too. People ain't going to both of them weddings. People ain't coming from out of town to go to both of them weddings. And the fact that your wedding is before mine means now that everybody gonna come to your wedding.
Right.
Family we ain't seen in 10 years gonna come to your wedding, and then they gonna be like, "Well, I just saw Barbara now. I'm not coming to that second child wedding." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that, I do agree with her. Like that's I could see if it was like one in March and the following March or maybe even October, but that's still pushed me.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it would just depend on the wedding. Like, are these big elaborate weddings or are these backyard weddings? And is family, a lot of them coming from out of town, or are they all pretty local? To me, that would be the deciding factor on whether or not it's weird or not. But me personally, I do say you're not the asshole, but your family is weird.
I'll say if you knew when their wedding was, then you are the asshole. If you knew beforehand that their wedding was 4 months after the date that y'all chose, you are the asshole.
Fair.
You should never undercut somebody like that.
Right.
That's crazy. Now if it was like
sound like she knew. It does sound like she knew.
You know what I'm saying? If it was your cousin twice removed, girl, have that wedding whenever you want. But y'all maybe living in the same house, even if not, that's your brother's fiance. Like y'all are siblings and y'all having a wedding 4 months apart. That is extremely weird to me.
Yeah, I can see that. And I know she said that they're getting married on the uncle's passing or birthday or something like that now that they've just passed. I don't see why they couldn't put it off for another year as well.
You know what I'm saying? It'll just give you more time to save money and get, zhuzh your wedding up even more.
Yeah. I'll switch my answer to everyone sucks here. I'm not quite comfortable saying she is the asshole because again, I don't know the full context. I don't know how big this but it is, the whole situation is just weird. They're all strange.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Your story.
Here we go. Now, Krista, you ready to get into a little sip and spill?
Yes.
If y'all aren't familiar with what the sip and spill is, it's when we read our listener letters. Now, this listener did not tell me to keep them anonymous, but I'm going to. So we're going to refer to her as Jessica. So Jessica wrote into us on Instagram with this story, and it goes something like this. My husband's coworker wants him, and he's clueless. Jessica girl, here we go. And just for reference, Jessica gave me this story in 2 bits, and I have blended the bits together to make it kind of flow. So, these 2 bits are about a month apart. So we'll get there in the end. So she says, 2 years ago, my husband started a new job replacing a woman that got promoted to a new location. After a year, she got another promotion and chose my husband to take her position, putting them in the same office. Over that year, she got divorced, supposedly her husband's fault. It was fine until I dropped in for the first time and she was rude and passive-aggressive to me. I made sure to drop by again a week later with my younger kids. She also has kids. She was, again, rude to me and got snotty with my kids. This time, I said something to my husband after and made it clear that I do not like this woman. Around the same time, she added him on socials and started hearting and liking his posts, but mostly photos of just him, including ones that are old, so she had to do some digging for those. At this point, I knew what she was getting at. Then she started sending snaps. All were work-ish related memes and such, but at later and later hours. So she started sending late night snaps, nothing inappropriate really, but my friends pointed out that it was probably just to have the alert go off late and cause an argument. Bingo. So I played into it to test the theory. I picked a fight and told him I picked a fight and told him to tell her she needs to stop sending snaps. My husband, still clueless and thinking it's in my head, comes home. I told him before he tells me how she reacted, I wanted to guess what she said. I was basically spot on. She went, "Oh, I can't imagine getting mad about something like that. She's overreacting. She must be insecure, blah, blah, blah." Finally, it clicked with him and he distanced himself and limited their social interactions to work. Since she hasn't gotten her way, she has started taking it out on him at work, leaving him the bad clients, taking off on the busiest days, transferring calls she doesn't want to him, etc. I've debated on sending HR an email. I do have copies of a few flirty texts and PG-rated selfies. Excuse me. Nothing too bad since he didn't take the bait, but it's still fully inappropriate to send it to a married man that works under you. Do you think I should? My friends think I should get ahead of it in case she decides she wants to try firing him or something because she didn't get what she wanted. Crystal, what do you think? Yeah.
Definitely go to HR. Definitely.
Boom.
100%. Because at some point, it's going to be him or her. At some point.
That's it.
This working relationship is never going to be the same again. She's been found out, and she's not on the side that she wants to be. So she's going to take it out on him. And someone's going to have to give. Either she is or he is. They're not going to continue working with each other for years in this contentious type situation, because either she's going to continue doing this to him, or so he's then going to be miserable working with her, or she might try to get him fired or something like that. Like, she might already be trying to do that by giving him these bad clients and all that stuff. She might be trying to trip him up so that she has a reason to fire him. So definitely go to HR with that situation. Men, you really need to listen to your wives. Their intuition is, especially, how many of y'all get caught by your wives cheating simply because she had an intuition about it? You ain't leave any real true evidence that you were cheating, but she had that inkling, that spidey sense going. She just, something, you kissed her differently, something, and she was like, something's wrong.
Something in the air. Something ain't right.
The wind just shifted.
Yup. Come on. The wind just shifted.
Something's not right. And they do their investigation, and lo and behold, you got a whole second family.
Women's left foot will not fit like it did yesterday in her shoe, and she'd be like, "My man cheating." Because this shoe fit yesterday. Why my ankles swollen like this? That motherfucker's out here cheating.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
When you're clueless about this, if your wife is seeing this, she's not delusional. It's real. The fact that she had to do this for you to see it. Now, granted, I'm proud that you were like, you woke up and were like, oh, and you put a stop to it. You didn't fall into it. And honestly, this is because where women know women, men know men. So again, wives, if you recently had a work colleague and your husband's like, I don't like this, and he's just being friendly, he's just being nice, he might not be,
or he might be in the cubicle dreaming about them back shots.
Right. So people, you got to start listening to your partners when they're feeling uncomfortable around the people that you are working with or that you have befriended or something like that, if they're doing something that's making them uncomfortable, you can't just write it off as being insecure, because that's an inevitable argument. That's an inevitable argument. At some point, it's going to lead into a bigger issue, a bigger argument. Like, no partner is going to want to be feeling insecure, feeling upset, feeling jealous about seeing this other person interacting with you. And then when you bring it up, your partner dismisses you.
Right.
It's always going to be some sort of an argument. But yeah, my advice, definitely take it to HR. You need to, I mean, she's the one who started it in the first place by essentially trying to start an office affair with someone who was under her. So,
because I mean, the fact that you would bring me along for a promotion, what are you doing snapping me? First of all, who the hell is snapping in 2024? Okay, if you sending snaps in 2024, you might as well have been. What's Ashley Madison? You might as well log into ashleymadison.com there's one for married couples that cheat on each other. I can't remember. Ma'am, me and my wife don't have a swing set. We don't have the pineapple on the door. We don't have the blue, green light. We don't have that. We're not swinging over here, okay? Leave us alone. Stop snapping me in the late night hour, because you're going to have my wife hovering over me in my sleep. And I want to sleep peacefully. Okay, do you understand me? That lady, listen, you might need to go to work and confess to her that you are, you know what, never mind. I was about to say something crazy. I mean, it would get her off your back, but, you know, I'm gonna leave that where oh, child, I was about to say something crazy.
Yeah, and the whole Snapchat, like, I could go on about that, because I had an experience about it a couple years ago, because I never had Snapchat. That was not one of the ones. I mean, I had it, but I never used it. That was not one of the social medias that I ever got into. I knew nothing about Snapchat. The only thing I ever had Snapchat for was because one of my best friends, call her K. I don't know if she wants me to use her name. We'll call her K. I probably have in the past, but she loved to Snapchat me, like, things about her dogs. If she decided to randomly get drunk one day, she would send me her late night shenanigans, which was always so funny, because if you know her, like, her drunk persona and her
yeah, girl.
Love it.
Yeah, as a witness.
Yes. Yeah. So it was always like that. It was always that the one person. She's the only one who ever Snapchat me. And then when I started working in my field, I met a guy that I kind of started flirting with a little bit. And I thought, you know, I'm in the career I want to be in. I'm not in school anymore. You know, maybe I'll keep doing this.
Wide open for a real nigga, you know.
You know, he's cute. He's flirting with me. Like, I'm not used to this, so you know. And long story short, he wanted to know if I was on social medias. He was like, "Do you have Snapchat?" I was like, "Yeah, I have Snapchat." He was like, "I'm gonna add you on Snapchat." Even though I told him, I was like, "I never use it." He was like, "I'm gonna add you on Snapchat." I had no idea. Snapchat is the cheating app. It is the app for cheating, and I didn't. It is. I didn't know.
I was just guessing.
Yes,
I don't know either. You telling me something?
Because he started and it was innocent at first. You know, it was stuff that he was doing at work, because we worked in the same place. We just in different departments. It was stuff he was doing at work. You know, special effects and all that stuff. Every once in a while, I'd get a little bit flirty, and I was showing my friend, and I remember I screenshotted it, part of it to him, and he was like, you know, oh, haha. He was like, just be careful, because they know when you screenshot.
Girl.
What? And literally the very next moment, he's like, "Why'd you screenshot?"
Yep.
What?
Crystal.
Why would you know that? No other app does that.
It tell you on the thing in the chat that you screenshot it. It tell you right there.
Didn't know. I didn't know. So I had to make up a lie.
Why do you think it's a cheating app?
I didn't know.
On there,
I didn't know at the time. I'm learning as I was going. And so it, you know, I was like, okay. So I had to make up a lie, and basically was like, oh, you know, because it is true. There's been times where I've tried to close my phone, but I'm holding the other end and that takes a screenshot. I have so many screenshots of my alarm clock when I'm trying to snooze it. So that's what I said. And he took it. He bought it. I was like, great, weird. And then he started making little comments about, you know, he shouldn't be doing this. You know, he's going to get in trouble. I was completely clueless. I was like, is there some like non-fraternization rule? And then I was like, well, it can't be because people in Hollywood marry each other all the time and they met on set and that can't be it. But I didn't know. So I finally confronted him. I was like, I don't understand what you're like, what's the issue? And he was like, really? Are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I don't understand. Like, you're very much confusing me. And finally he was like, he put like the little embarrassed face and he was like, well, you know, because I'm married.
Oh, I thought I was expecting a girlfriend. I wasn't expecting marriage. Oh my God.
Huh? I was like, yeah, no, I don't. This is done.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't happening. I don't mess with married men. I don't mess with men in relationships, period. And I was so confused. I was like, because I've seen him in person. I glanced at his hand and didn't see a wedding ring. Like I was confused. And he was like, oh no, you know, I just want to be friends and blah. I was like, yeah, as long as you keep it completely friendly, I have no problem, you know, but anything else, I was like, it's done. And the next time I saw him, because we had a mutual friend and I was hanging with the mutual friend on set and we were joking and laughing, he came up and that's when I finally looked at his hand, like really looked at it. He had a wedding ring on, but it was flesh colored.
Girl, that, you know what? He's a master lover cheater.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. When I saw it, I said, oh, okay. Oh. And then what made it worse was we were joking about something and we were talking about some funny photo and our friend who's completely clueless about anything that was going on, he was like, you still got that funny picture you took, you know, a couple weeks ago when you and your wife, and he looked at me, he was like, yeah, they're having like 1 million kids. But he was like, you still got that funny photo? And he said that and I saw him look at me and I'm looking at him like our friend is oblivious to what's really going on. And I'm like, yeah. He was like, yeah, they were at the doctor's office because, you know, his wife's pregnant right now.
Get the fuck out of here,
y'all. Really pregnant. And he's looking, he's like, the way he's fidgeting, like and I'm like, I would love to see the funny photo. Love to see it. Please show me. He's like, yeah. And he takes it out and he shows me the picture of him like sitting in the stirrups or whatever. Wow, that's so funny. How many kids do you have now?
And what time did you take that picture? Let me go back in my snap logs.
Right.
3:38. Wow, you were in the waiting room. Got it.
So that's how I learned that the Snapchat is a cheating app. It is a cheating app and I do not participate. I don't.
Damn, that's crazy. I mean, for real, I thought people stopped using Snapchat pre-pandemic. I thought Snapchat was over.
I like I said, I only ever used it with Kay. I didn't mess with it. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even really know how to use the messenger app. Like, and I still don't. Like, he would send me chats where they were like completely blank or all black, and then you would get to the end and it would be a little message, or if you clicked on it, it would reveal the message or something like that. And it was always, anytime I got those ones, I knew not to open it because those are the ones where he would be like, oh, I want to kiss you or I want to do this. And I'm like, nope, no.
Hey,
no.
Slow up. What?
We're not doing
this. That's real aggressive.
Mm-hmm. And I would just ignore it.
I want to
And he would get mad. He would get mad that, so you don't want to respond to that? No, I don't.
Come on.
I absolutely do not.
You might as well have wrote me a hand letter on college rule paper with a number 2 pencil and slid it across the damn desk to me like, are you kidding me? I want to kiss you. You lucky I didn't block your ass.
Yeah. I just immediately, he would only message me during the week, during the work week, never on the weekend. I was just like, nope, immediate no. You're making it worse. You're making it so worse. Like, I don't want to. Oh.
And now, if it was a girlfriend, I might have said, well, is she on her way out? Because
even then,
Hit
it's
the
like I said,
revolving door, girl. You know,
cheating is a big no for me. If you
yeah,
can't even wait
yeah.
when you're to get out of a relationship to try to start
Mhm.
something new, how do I know that you wouldn't do the same for me? So,
Right. What?
no.
Yeah. 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 I'm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Right. Right.
yeah. All right,
Yeah.
so technically we had one of my stories, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
debating of whether or not we should
Girl,
do it.
let's do it. Let's do
Okay.
it. We've been giving them extendo episodes the
I
past couple,
know.
so they
My
might as well get one
editing
more extendo.
night is going to be crying.
Well, I mean,
Okay,
it's up to you. It's up to you.
we'll do it, but I am
Okay.
going to this was never going to be able to be finished in this episode anyways. I had hoped to be able to do at least one of the updates to the story, but I think we might only be able to get the initial story out. So you will have to wait for the next episode to get all the juicy details. You don't have to. Like I said, we do tell the titles of these stories, so you're more than welcome to go and find it yourself and read it. But I hope you stick with us for next episode.
Yeah.
All right. So this, I don't know where this was originally posted, but this is this title is, and I'm gonna have to put this over Timmy's face because I know his facial expressions. So, all right, my husband of 20 years is cheating on me with our son's 18-year-old girlfriend.
Get the fuck out of here! I can't wait to hear the husband's age. Commence.
I, 41 female, am a stay-at-home mom. My husband, 48 male, whom we'll call Paul, works in finance. We have been married for nearly 20 years. We have 2 kids whom we'll call Eric, our 18-year-old son, currently a senior in high school, and Mary, our 15-year-old daughter. They are both the lights of my life. My marriage with my husband has grown somewhat stale over the years for a myriad of reasons, such as his work schedule and how I've aged poorly since we first met. Girl, don't do that to yourself. Don't.
I'm ready to go off already. I'm sorry. I'm messing on you. Here I go. Sorry.
Our son Eric has a girlfriend, 18 female, whom he has been dating since they were freshmen in high school. We'll call her Amy. In case anyone doesn't remember, you're usually about 14, 15-year-olds in high school in your freshman year. Anyways, we'll call her Amy. Eric absolutely adores Amy. She's his first love, and she's someone I've always considered as family. This makes the whole situation emotionally excruciating for me. Last week, I inadvertently saw my husband's phone screen and got a glimpse of a text thread between my husband and Amy, our son's girlfriend. And I read what looked like a message of her telling him that she missed doing things to him. I'm not going to elaborate. I froze in place in complete disbelief. I spent most of the day convincing myself that I must have misread what I saw. However, I didn't misread it because over the last several days, I've discovered a file on his computer filled with tons of BDSM porn. He clearly has a porn addiction. He also has saved photos of Amy from her Instagram on his computer. Although they weren't inappropriate, she was fully clothed, it was still the proof I needed to confirm that I wasn't going crazy. I also looked at his phone during opportune moments and saw more of their interactions. I wish I had never looked. They were filled with mean, horrible things said at my expense, with him constantly comparing me to her. He would call me fat and old, among other things, with Amy LOLing. I've always had hunches or paranoid feelings that Paul has been cheating on me, but never in a million years could I have fathomed something like this. Last month, I found a thong in our bedroom that I know wasn't mine. I turned a blind eye to it, being naive and acting like it was maybe our daughter's, even though that made zero sense. Not only is he cheating on me, but he's betraying our son. I'm completely devastated. I don't even think words can adequately describe the dread, anger, shock I feel right now. I'm totally overwhelmed on how to handle this because obviously actions need to be taken, but I'm terrified of what kind of psychic blow this will be for my son. I have no idea how to even broach this completely effed up topic with him. I wouldn't wish this predicament on my worst enemy. I can't even believe I married the scumbag in the first place. And then my mind started to race, realizing that I started noticing specifically unusual behavior from him around the same time Amy turned 18. Was he waiting for her to turn 18 before pursuing this affair? There's so many layers to all of this. I'm completely paralyzed with fear and dread about it all. None of it makes any sense. How did this happen? Am I that much of a stupid idiot that I let all of this happen under my watch? Eric adores Amy, and the thought of revealing the sickening truth to him terrifies me. The impact on his young heart and mind could be devastating. My heart aches for Eric and Mary, who are completely innocent bystanders. I haven't confronted my husband about this because I'm frankly scared of the domino effect. I don't know who to turn to first about this. I share my story not for sympathy, but in search of understanding and perhaps advice. She also said that Amy is freshly 18, or Amy is 18 for about 5 months, and she hasn't been able to gauge when the affair started. She said she's trying her hardest to figure that out. He deletes his texts every couple of weeks, it seems like. So she hasn't been able to pinpoint when this whole thing started.
This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh my God. I cannot. There's so many levels of this that just hit me like a brick. First of all, first thing I heard that got me, ma'am, don't ever talk about yourself like that. Don't ever don't talk about yourself as ugly. Don't talk about yourself as less than. Don't talk about yourself in comparison to this little hoe. Okay? Anyway, I'm not going there. The only thing that honestly came to my mind, because I told Chris I'm going to stop being careful with my words. The only thing that came to my mind was making sure that they took a long drive off a short bridge. A la Virginia Beach. That was a dark ass joke.
Too soon.
Girl, that was a dark ass joke. And you know what? So be it. Fuck them. Don't you feel no any kind of way about yourself? Your husband is a nasty bastard. He nasty. He been looking at that girl since she was 13, 14 years old. He been waiting on her. He been watching this. Oh, I can't even describe it. He been watching this young lady develop. And he been waiting for the opportune moment to approach her. And you know what? For real, I can't even blame this young lady. Because her brain hasn't, her as a human, has not finished developing. It will be many, we ain't even talking about the physical attributes. We're not even talking about her brain, her, fully developing. Her mind, the way she views the world, she hasn't even gotten the chance to do that. And this man has gotten in on the ground floor and manipulated this girl into having an affair with him. What she could see, because I'm not even going to do that because I told you don't call yourself ugly. But if that's how you look at yourself, how should your husband look at himself? Because I know he ain't no damn spring chicken. 48? 48 ain't old. But it's older goddamn enough to leave an 18-year-old alone. Disgusting. There is absolutely no way in this world, in any circumstance, that this is appropriate, especially because you are cheating on your wife. And even more especially because you are cheating on your wife with your son's girlfriend. There is something sick in knowing that you are sleeping with your child's girlfriend. As a man, I know dominance, because you said BDSM and all that shit. It's something about that dominant stuff, and the fact that you bringing your child into this sick, nasty domination stuff, because that's what you're doing by getting with his little girlfriend, is disgusting. If I was the wife I would do everything I can to find evidence that he was messing with a minor, and I would hand it over to the police.
Mm-hmm.
And I would let them take his ass out. I would never say a word. I would never let him know that it came from me.
Mm-hmm.
I would never let him know it came from me. That way your child is spared, because now he can look at his father for the nasty son of a bitch he is. And you can get that man out your life. And you can expose to your son that his girlfriend made some horrible decisions. I ain't gonna get that little girl too much, because at the end of the day, she's still a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
She was manipulated. She was taken advantage of. But at the end of the day, little ma'am, you played your part in this. And my son needs to act accordingly. You can't be around here no more.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be around here no more. You done broke my trust. You done broke my son's trust. You have destroyed this family behind your actions. And whatever consequences are out there waiting on you is your business.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to get from off my front porch.
Yep.
Krista, you done pissed me off on here tonight.
I know. So I feel bad about leaving our audience without at least one of the updates. So I'm going to actually read one. Because
we are
already past way past what we usually do. So we're just going to keep going.
Yeah. This is a celebration of Crystal being on set. This is the on-set extravaganza. That might be the title of the episode for real.
There you go. So, she says, I discovered that my husband, Paul, 48 male, was having an affair with our son's 18-year-old girlfriend, Amy, who he has been dating since they were a freshman in high school. They are now seniors. My brother connected me to a very tough junkyard dog-type lawyer. I saved screenshots of all of his conversations with Amy. I was only able to get the last 3 months from iCloud. The conversations were mostly flirty and dirty talk. It was hard to stomach, completely sleazy, and I saw several negative things said about me. His call history showed he talks with her for hours pretty consistently. He uses dating apps. I took screenshots of his profiles and all of the active chats he has with his matches. It's very clear he uses a filter to seek out girls who are 18 to 22 or so. I copied all of his files from the computer. He goes on sex chat rooms and forums, and he spends a ton of money on OnlyFans. I rummaged through every possible hiding spot I could think of in the house. He had various toys, blindfolds, cuffs, lubrications, etc. He also had different outfits which looked kind of like a girl's Catholic school uniform and a French maid type outfit too. I picked up Eric and Mary from school, and we all drove to my brother's. They were able to sense something was weary when I picked them up. I delicately told them the entire situation, and I broke down crying. Mary had the most anger, even more than Eric. I met with Amy's mother and told her everything. She confiscated Amy's phone and gave me the entire chat log. It only dated back 3 months ago, like on my husband's cloud. Almost as if they both deleted the messages at the same time. She told me Amy sobbed when confronted. Amy basically told her mother that she'll never understand and that she and him are in love. I don't want to go into too many details with what else she was saying, but suffice to say, it's very easy to assume that my husband slowly and methodically became a sage-like figure in her life, making her feel as if she could rely on him, and he took advantage of the fact that she came from a broken home. Amy is also nonstop insisting that their friendship only became romantic/physical recently. And before that, she said he was more of a friend and mentor. I confronted Paul over Zoom. The look on his face was scary. He became red and looked so sweaty. He had anger and panic in his eyes. His tone of voice was very defensive and frightening. He kept yelling the word context over and over again, and that none of that happened. He was unable to speak without constant stutters and intensity. Nothing really made any sense to me. I refused to tell him where I was, and he said I had no right to take his kids away from him, and then he abruptly left the Zoom. My lawyer is filing for temporary sole custody of Mary and a restraining order. Mary is still the most angry. She's totally furious with her dad and Amy, justifiably so. Of course. Mary is recollecting moments and times she watched her dad interact with her friends, and she's in knots about it. Eric is very clearly hurting, but he's so strong and very level-headed. He wants to see a therapist. The maturity my kids are showing makes me proud. They don't deserve all of this at all. We made the authorities aware of everything. I plan on being completely unforgiving and ruthless in the divorce. I'm reflecting on how I've been treated and how it's made me a shell of myself and how I've had a very negative opinion of myself because of him over the last 20 years. I don't want to let this scumbag get away with it, and I want to reinvent myself and move on stronger than ever.
10 out of 10. Perfect response. You let the children know, listen, this is what's going on. Y'all daddy nasty. You went to that little girl mama and you tattled as you should, and the mama did what she was supposed to do. Confiscated that phone and said, little bitch, come here. Give me that phone. Because you've been out here cutting up exactly what we hypothesized was going on. What's going on? That man manipulated her. That girl came from a broken home. He saw a mark and he took advantage of her. The fact that nasty bastard has been seeking out girls her age is just, oh, it's so sick. I cannot. But shout out to her for saying that she is going to be ruthless in the divorce. The fact that she gave what she had to the police and said, listen, it's some more out there. Obviously, this has been going on longer than what these messages are showing. I mean, more than likely, they're not. Since she is 18, I highly, highly, highly doubt that they're going to be able to retroactively do anything because they only have evidence from those 3 months. And in that time, because she's been 18 for 5.
Yeah.
Everything is legal. So there's no probable cause for them to go looking for something. So I do think that's a lost cause. However, in divorce court, opinion is king, right? And if you can get the right judge and the right lawyers to paint your husband as the nasty son of a bitch he is, you could walk away with everything that you want at the end of that divorce, which is everything that you deserve because you've done nothing wrong. You opened, that was a lie. You did do something wrong. How the hell that man had all that stuff in your house without you knowing? How he had all that stuff?
Yeah. I was confused by that
crazy.
Too. That's a little cluelessness.
That's
depending
past
on
cluelessness.
Where he allegedly hid all this stuff. But yeah.
Unless he had hidden panels in the wall.
Right.
With secret codes and stuff. There ain't no way you hiding BDSM. You hiding toys, outfits, files on computers, text messages, rendezvous in my home. Girl. You must not do nothing but go to work for 23 hours and come home for the last 24th and make dinner for everybody. Like, what is going on?
The only thing I can think of is maybe they have a house where, he has his own space. You know how where men have like man caves or man offices and women have their own.
Problem number one.
But there are people who do that. And I know for some people who do that, that's their space and you respect that. And you just, when they're in there, that's where they go to be alone. You don't really bother them. You don't go and invade it. Maybe this was the moment where she's like, I'm going in every nook and cranny of that room now. And that's the only thing I could think of maybe. But if that's not the case, yeah, girl, like your blinders have been on for quite a while for him to have all that stuff around the house and you never noticed any of it.
Because that shit got to get shipped to the house. It's on the credit card bill. It's like the trail is there. How are these things sneaking into your home? Without you, I mean, I guess if they got a lot of square footage, you're not going through every cabinet and every drawer or whatever.
Yeah.
But in what I would assume years that this has been going on with him, and I'm talking the BDSM stuff, I'm not talking the affair, I would think that you would have come across something in that time. But nevertheless, I ain't placing no blame on you. Shout out to you for doing what the hell you needed to do, girl, because Y'all know my first inkling is violence. I'm sorry. If you cutting up like that, like, you gotta go. You have to go. Like, you gotta get about my life before I get you about my life.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really have anything else to add to her. I think what she said and what you said perfectly summarize it up. There is another update to it, but I will save that for the next episode.
Oh, you better come back for the next episode. But if you like what you saw in this here episode, we want to thank you so much for that. So thank you. Thank you for joining us for another illustrious episode of the Tea and Crystals podcast. If you like what you heard, because it was a lot to hear in this episode. Crystal, we went all over the place. Like, we touched on a lot of topics.
I know. We are almost at an hour and 30 minutes, man.
30 minutes. But there are definitely some things in this podcast episode that we are going to revisit, and we're going to delve deep into once we find some people that we want to have on here to have those conversations. So, like I said, if you like what you heard, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. Make sure that you leave a written review to let people know what you love about this show. We know y'all love it. Y'all be telling us. So tell the people. Make sure you're sharing this show. Thank you for people who be posting it on their stories and all that stuff. Share it with your friends. Go to Apple Podcasts. Share the link. Go on Spotify. Share the link. Anywhere that you're listening, share the link. Get people to listen, because we really enjoy doing this for you all. If you like what you saw, make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe on YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, or you would like to share your own story like Jessica did, make sure that you do so at teaandcrystal@gmail.com. That's TEAANDCRYSTAL @gmail.com. You can also send us a DM on any of our socials, which will be in the description below. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook by searching Tea and Crystals Podcast. Follow us on TikTok at Tea and Crystals Podcast, and on Instagram, shout out to the Instagram, at Tea and Crystals Pod. Now, Crystal, is there anything else you want to say to the people before we get the hell up out of here?
Nope, just that I hope to see you guys next week so you can get more updates on the last story. And thank you for joining us. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.